Chrono Dilemma. Chapter 1. Guardians of the Temporal Order. In the labyrinth of tomorrow, where time bends and reality wavers, Agent Elara stood, her gaze fixed upon the pulsating heart of the temporal nexus. It was here, in this soaring atrium of chrome and pulsing light, that the fate of timelines was woven and unwoven by those daring enough to tread its threads. Elara, clad in a sleek suit that hugged her athletic frame, moved with a grace born of countless hours in the simulator. Her eyes, a piercing blue, scanned the array of holographic displays that floated around her, each a window into a different era. She was a guardian of time, a sentinel standing against the chaos of temporal anarchy. The Time Agency, a clandestine organization operating at the edge of known science, had been her home for years. Trained to navigate the treacherous waters of history, Elara and her fellow agents were tasked with ensuring the integrity of the timeline. Their mission was clear: prevent the ripples of temporal interference from turning into tsunamis that could sweep away the present. Elara's reputation as one of the agency's most skilled agents was not unearned. Her mind was a steel trap, honed to process complex temporal theories and historical data with astonishing speed. She had prevented wars, saved lives, and undone disasters, all without leaving a trace in the sands of time. Today, the nexus buzzed with a tension that crackled in the air. Elara's intuition, sharpened by years of navigating the unpredictable currents of time, told her something monumental loomed on the horizon. As she approached her commanding officer, a hologram flickered to life, casting an ethereal glow across her determined features. Agent Elara, the commanding officer's voice boomed, echoing through the atrium. We have detected an anomaly of unprecedented scale. Your skills are required to avert a catastrophe that threatens the very fabric of our reality. Elara's heart raced. This was the moment she had trained for, the kind of challenge she lived for. With a nod, she accepted the mission, ready to leap into the unknown and face whatever dangers lay hidden in the folds of time. As she stepped towards the temporal gateway, the gateway to eras unknown, she couldn't help but feel the weight of history on her shoulders. It was a burden she bore with pride, for she was Agent Elara, protector of the past, guardian of the future. And with that, she stepped through the portal, her figure swallowed by the swirling vortex of time, off to confront a threat that could unravel the very fabric of existence. Chapter 2. Shadows of Time's Echo. As the vortex of the temporal gateway closed behind her, Agent Elara emerged into a world teetering on the brink of transformation. The year was 2150, a time of neon-lit cities and eye-driven societies, where humanity stood at the crossroads of utopia and oblivion. Her mission was clear yet daunting: to trace the origins of a temporal anomaly that threatened to ripple through history. Elara's first step was to delve into the agency's extensive archives, a labyrinthine digital repository where the secrets of the past lay hidden in encrypted shadows. Her fingers danced over the holographic interface, sifting through layers of data with an almost instinctual precision. As she delved deeper, Elara uncovered a series of cryptic communications between unknown entities, discussing a plan to alter a pivotal historical event. The gravity of the situation settled upon her like a cloak. Someone was attempting to rewrite history, and the consequences could be catastrophic. Her investigation led her through the bustling streets of the futuristic city, where skyscrapers stretched towards the heavens, and holograms danced in the night sky. She traced the digital footprints of the conspirators, her path fraught with enigmatic clues and elusive shadows. Elara's heart pounded in her chest as she pieced together the puzzle. The plot was more complex than she had imagined, weaving through the annals of time like a serpent lurking in tall grass. She realized that every step brought her closer to a truth that could shatter her understanding of reality. It was then, in a quiet corner of the digital archives, that she made a startling discovery. The data stream flickered, and for a fleeting moment, She saw her own face staring back at her from the future, a visage marked by wisdom and scars of battles yet to be fought. The connection was brief, but it was enough to send a shiver down her spine. Elara was not just chasing a temporal anomaly, she was chasing her own future self. The revelation brought a torrent of questions. How could she be involved in this plot? What dire circumstances could lead her to tamper with the fabric of time? Elara's resolve hardened. She needed answers, and she would chase them to the ends of time if necessary. As the chapter draws to a close, Elara stands at the precipice of an unfathomable discovery. The lines between past, present, and future blur, and she realizes that the key to unraveling the plot lies not just in the data she has uncovered, but in the unexplored realms of her own destiny. With a determined step, Elara plunges deeper into the mystery, her every move shadowed by the specter of her future self. The stage is set for a confrontation that could redefine the boundaries of time and space. Chapter 3: Reflections in the Time Stream. In the shadowed alleyways of the city that never slept, Elara faced the one person she never expected to confront, herself. Future Elara stood before her, an enigma wrapped in familiar features, yet marked by the passage of years and the weight of untold experiences. Elara, her future self began, her voice a haunting echo of what once was, "You can't comprehend the necessity of what I've done." The future. Our future. It's bleak beyond your understanding. Elara's heart pounded in her chest, a maelstrom of emotions swirling within her. Anger, confusion, disbelief, each vied for dominance as she faced this apparition of her future. Why? Why alter history? You know the risks, the potential for catastrophic consequences. Elara's words were a tempest, a clash of duty and disbelief. Future Elara's eyes, mirrors of her own, held a depth of sorrow and determination. I've seen the collapse of everything we've sworn to protect. I've witnessed horrors that you can't imagine. Changing history is the only way to prevent the impending doom. The air between them was electric, charged with the tension of ideologies at war. Elara struggled to reconcile the woman she was with the one she might become. But at what cost? How many lives, how many realities will be shattered by this? Elara's voice was a blade, sharp with conviction. Future Elara stepped forward, her presence both commanding and unsettling. Sometimes, the greater good demands sacrifice. You'll understand, in time. Elara shook her head, her resolve steeling. No. There has to be another way. We were trained to protect time, not to play gods with it. The dialogue between them ebbed and flowed like a tide, each word a ripple in the fabric of their shared destiny. Future Elara spoke of a world ravaged by unseen threats, of decisions born from desperation. Elara countered with the ideals they had both sworn to uphold, the belief in a future shaped by actions, not manipulations. As the confrontation reached its crescendo, Elara saw the burden of knowledge in her future self's eyes, the weight of decisions made and the cost they had exacted. It was a mirror into a future she vowed to change. You may not understand now, but you will, future Elara said, her voice a whisper of time itself. One day, you'll face the same choices, the same dilemmas. Elara, her spirit ablaze with determination, took a step forward. Then I'll find a way to change the future without breaking the past. I won't let your choices define my path. Elara, resolute and unwavering, turns away from her future self. The air was thick with the unspoken words and the weight of what was yet to come. With every step, she felt the burden of her decision, a promise to forge a different future, one where hope prevailed over despair. Elara knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she was ready. She would stop her future self, not just to save the timeline, but to save herself from becoming the very thing she fought against. Chapter 4: Tangled Threads of Destiny. In the heart of a temporal storm, Elara raced against time itself. Each second that ticked by was a step closer to a future she was desperate to avert. Her journey blurred into a whirlwind of motion and resolve, traversing through the intricate weave of history. From the neon-lit streets of her own era to the shadowed corridors of times long past, she navigated the tumultuous currents of time. Each leap was a dance with destiny, a calculated move in a high-stakes game where the fabric of reality hung in balance. As she delved deeper into the mystery, Elara uncovered harrowing fragments of truth about the future she sought to save. Echoes of wars yet to be fought and whispers of impending disasters started to paint a bleak picture, a future where humanity stood on the brink of annihilation, a world submerged in the ashes of time. Infiltrating a clandestine meeting of those intent on rewriting history, Elara glimpsed the full extent of their plans. They aimed to alter a seemingly insignificant event, a change that would ripple across time and prevent an apocalyptic future. As she prepared to thwart their efforts, Elara grappled with the moral complexities of her mission. Was preserving a timeline that led to such a dire future truly the right choice? The climax came in a whirlwind of action and revelation. Elara realized with staggering insight that her efforts to preserve the timeline were inadvertently laying the groundwork for the very future she feared. Each intervention in the past was unknowingly weaving the tapestry of time into the pattern her future self had foreseen. Confronting this paradox, Elara's resolve was shaken. Her determination to prevent history's alteration had become the catalyst for the events leading to the future apocalypse. This realization was a profound shock, unraveling the certainties she had held. Now standing at a crossroads in time, her beliefs in turmoil, Elara faced the complexity of her mission. The world around her became a labyrinth of cause and effect, where every decision was both a beginning and an end. Faced with an impossible choice, one that would define not just her own fate but that of the entire timeline, Elara stepped forward. She was ready to confront the consequences of her actions in a future that was still unwritten, carrying the weight of history on her shoulders. Chapter 5. The Paradox of Choice. In the vortex of a temporal maelstrom, Elara stood at the precipice of a decision that would not only define her fate, but the fate of countless timelines. She grappled with the paradox that her every action to safeguard the timeline was propelling her towards the dystopian future she dreaded. Amidst the whirring gears of time, Elara confronted the monumental task before her. It was a moment of truth, a clash between her steadfast beliefs and the looming shadow of the greater good. The weight of her choices bore down upon her, as heavy as the sands of time themselves. In a climactic confrontation, Elara faced the embodiment of her future self, a mirror reflecting the potential outcome of her own decisions. It was a dialogue not just of words but of ideals, of what could be and what must be. The air crackled with the tension of their exchange, each word a step closer to the inevitable choice. As they stood in the nexus of time, the ethereal voices of history whispered around them, a chorus of the consequences of their actions. Elara's future self, worn by the scars of decisions made, implored her to consider the greater good, to step beyond the confines of her beliefs for the sake of a future yet unwritten. In this moment of reckoning, Elara's resolve crystallized. She realized that sometimes, the hardest choices required the greatest sacrifices. With a heart heavy with the burden of knowledge, she made her decision. She chose to embrace the paradox, to intervene in the timeline, knowing it might alter her very essence. The choice was profound, a leap into the unknown, driven by the hope of averting a cataclysmic future. It was a decision that blurred the lines between right and wrong, casting her in a light that was both savior and manipulator of destinies. As the climax ebbed, Elara reflected on her journey. She had traversed the convoluted paths of time, confronted the echoes of her future self, and grappled with moral dilemmas that transcended the boundaries of time. Her ordeal was a testament to the complexities of time manipulation and the ethical quandaries it entailed. In the quiet aftermath, Elara stood as a changed entity. She had grown through her ordeal, her perspectives broadened by the depths of her experiences. The themes of predestination and moral ambiguity resonated in her mind, a melody of what had been and what might yet be. The story concluded with Elara gazing into the horizon of time, a horizon that was now forever altered by her actions. She had made her choice, for better or worse, and in doing so, she had redefined the contours of her destiny and that of the timeline she vowed to protect. As the echoes of her decision faded into the annals of time, Elara stepped forward, her eyes alight with the wisdom of her journey. She was ready to face whatever the future held, armed with the knowledge that in the intricate dance of time, every step was both unending and a beginning.